Hey everybody, a happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are having an amazing Sunday. Welcome to the Chicken and Garden Update. And you know what? We haven't done a whole lot of gardening or chicken updating in our most recent videos. So today we are in with the chickens. Lots of people have been asking me about chickens and chicken ownership and how easy it is to have chickens. And so today I thought I would just give you a brief rundown of some of the things that I've learned owning chickens for the last year and a half, nearly 2 years in fact. So the first thing to bear in mind is chickens are social creatures. They like to have other chickens to be with, and here at the house, we have a flock of 7 birds. We have 6 hens, and then we have Charlie, who is trying very hard to be all macho around me because he wants to protect his ladies. Now, obviously, having multiple birds, you can have as few as 2 or 3 birds, but as Kate has discovered, because she's got a much smaller flock, if you have 3 birds and one of them dies, it can really dramatically affect the group dynamics. Whereas when you have sort of 5 or 6, I find it is actually easier if something happens to one of the birds dies or is taken by a predator. Generally, the group dynamic seems to be a little bit more stable. The other thing, obviously, is the more hens you have, generally, the more eggs you can harvest in a given year. So on average, our 6 hens lay between 2 and 3 eggs a day during winter, and in the summertime, between 3 and 4 eggs. Now, that's because the majority of our birds are either heritage breed, so they're bred not for laying lots of eggs, but they're bred to be all-round animals and to have, healthy long lifespans and to be a little bit more resistant to diseases and whatnot than, say, a farmed hen in a factory with no access to the outdoors or anything like that. Those birds are bred purely to produce eggs, or if they are a factory farm destined for meat, they're producing large amounts of meat that they grow very, very quickly, very unhealthily, and it's not very good for the quality of life for the animals. But here, if you have heritage breeds or hybrid breeds, which is what we have here, some of our birds are hybrids. That means they have multiple, one parent was one breed and one parent was a different breed. So this is Charlie. His children are here, and they came from some of the hens in the flock. So they are kind of crossbreeds. Crossbreeds can have great temperaments, but they can also be quite strong-willed, as I have discovered. So, the more hens you have, obviously, the more eggs you can get a day. And I think it probably makes for a healthier flock, a more dynamic flock. But at the same point, you need more space. So I thought I would show you the little area that we've got for our hens right now. It's not huge. It's just a little electric fence that goes all the way around here and back. And you can see kind of related to the size of the birds, how much space we've got. Now, because it's been muddy, there's lots of mud. There are some grassy parts, and it's important for hens to have access to green because that can help with their diet. If they can eat grass and other green things, it really does help improve their health. It improves the quality of their eggs, and they're like us. They like to have a variety of different things to eat. So right now they're scratching around in the dirt because there's lots of worms that have come to the surface. But for the most part, the larger the area, the better it is for the birds. Now, the reason why we've got them in a little enclosure right now is it's this time of year where the coyotes start to make attacks and want to try and get food. And obviously, having them all the way down the bottom, it puts them in danger of being attacked. So we keep them up here, and I don't let them out a whole amount because we still have bird flu in the area, avian flu, so I have to check the birds regularly for symptoms and make sure they're okay. So in addition to having somewhere for them to run or them to be, they need a secure pen for nighttime, a secure coop. Now this is something that my partner built, and we actually spent a fair amount of money on this. This is completely wooden construction. We have little concrete foundations. This is pressure treated lumber, and it's nice tin roof as well. And it's thick. We've got some thick wire mesh on here to protect the chickens from things like raccoons and from other predators. Obviously, they need somewhere to spend the night with roosting bars. Chickens, like most birds, like to be high off the ground at night. They like to be secure. They want somewhere warm and dry. They also need somewhere to obviously lay their eggs, so we have nesting boxes. Building this and setting this up probably cost us about $700 or $800, maybe a little more. But you can actually build your own coop for far less using recycled materials. I've seen some great coops built out of recycled crates, for example. I've seen people build them out of wooden banana boxes. I've seen people reuse greenhouses and other things to put chickens in. But the important thing is that obviously there is good airflow, which is why there are mesh sides to it. That's for sanitary reasons as much as anything else. And that it's dry and warm where they're going to sleep, and you regularly put fresh bedding in. I need to clean these guys out. I do what's called a deep litter method. So like twice a year they get mucked out. I actually do it about 3 times a year. And without going into too much details, chickens don't wee. They mix their urine in with their feces like other birds do. So it's really their poop that you just have to make sure that you keep away from them and keep sanitary as best as possible, because like anybody, they don't want to be around in their poop all the time. You can obviously put chicken manure on your garden. It's very good for helping grow plants. It's got lots of nitrates in it, so it's very, very good. We use it on our garden, on our vegetables. We sit it out for a bit and let it kind of let it gently rot before we put it on the garden, but it serves some great purpose. And the other thing is, obviously your chickens can eat garden scraps, but they also need a decent quality food. We feed our chickens a feed called Scratch and Peck. It's a local brand. It has a little bit of corn in it. It's got a good mix. We also make sure they have access to fresh water every day. So you've got water feeders in the back. And of course, you have to check on your chickens. I like to check on them at least once a day. But if I'm away, my partner just has to check on them once a day and make sure they're okay. I generally make sure they have food and water before I leave. And the chickens are fine while we're gone. If we're gone for more than a day, nothing bad is going to happen. The only thing that may happen is that the chickens may decide they're going to throw the old eggs out, which I've seen before. Generally, you want to try and collect your eggs once or twice a day. And when they get older, like Carolyn here, our biggest bird, this is Carolyn here, right in the far corner here, and her daughter next to her. I don't know if you can see that they've got similar build and similar markings. Carolyn is one of the oldest hens in our flock, and she has decided that the roosting bars are too high up to jump up to at night time. If she doesn't get in before it gets dark, she will just sleep in the nest box. So I have to turf her out of the nest box and actually put her up on the bars at night. But other than that, there's not a lot else to do. And you can have really interesting kind of conversations with chickens. Some of them have really lovely personalities. Some of them are mean and horrible. So this hen here is notoriously nasty. She pecks at everybody and everything, and she's got a really mean streak in her eye. Charlie, being a rooster, is not the most chill. of chaps. Sorry, Charlie. But behind him, Ashley, our Lavender Orpington, she's wonderful. She's very, very gentle, and she always has an air of curiosity about her, and always comes and asks kind of, what are you doing, with she kind of does this thing that she does. She always does it when she sees me around. She wants to know what I'm doing, and you have a little conversation with her. And I know that probably sounds a bit weird, but that is the reality of having chickens. I'm going to put my chickens to bed now, even though it's only kind of 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, because it gets dark pretty quickly, and I'm going to be busy editing video this afternoon. So they've had some outside time. They're now going to have some coop time. I'm just going to count them and make sure they are all in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They are, in fact, all in there. So the other thing, obviously, is making sure you have a vet. Having a vet on hand locally helps, because it makes sure that you're not gonna suddenly, if something's wrong with the birds, that you're not suddenly kind of rushing around going, what's wrong with my hens? Why are they sick? And of course, if you're buying chicks, you also need to make sure they have proper vaccinations. There are some nasty diseases that chickens can get. Having properly vaccinated chicks is a good thing. There's a whole load of stuff that I haven't gone into, but that's kind of just my 20,000 foot view of chicken ownership for the last couple of years. And I know kind of we're heading towards spring, and that's the time of year when people start looking at considering chickens. And my advice would be, if you are considering chickens, make sure that your local laws allow you to keep chickens. Some homeowners associations, some local laws do not allow you to keep chickens. If we lived in town, we wouldn't be able to have Charlie. Roosters are generally not allowed in city limits, but if you're out in the country like I am, it's totally okay. And think carefully about where you get your chicks from. Maybe you're going to go with it's easier generally to get chicks than it is to get eggs and hatch them. But again, make sure you go with reputable sources. Local is always best. And if you're in doubt, there's normally loads of people locally who have chickens, like me, whose hens get a little broody and may or may not have a rooster in the flock, and they let their hens hatch eggs, and then there are chicks that are looking for new homes. So that can be a great way of making sure that you are buying good chicks rather than factory farmed chicks, which are unfortunately a thing. Also, of course, if you want to adopt a hen, there are some great organisations out there that allow you to adopt factory farmed hens and give them a good life beyond that point. And I didn't mention earlier, but the average lifespan of a garden chicken, your home chicken, can be upwards of 6 or 7 years if your hens live a healthy and happy life. So it's not a case of them living a year and then dying. They can live beyond 8, in fact. So I'm hoping that that's in fact what we're going to have here with our hens. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. A little bit of a different video to our normal chicken and garden update, but hey, it's getting towards the holidays, so I figured, why not? If you liked today's video, you know what to do, and feel free to tip us with a super thanks. The comments are open below for your thoughts, as is our Discord chat room. If you want more, subscribe, hit the bell and follow the links to become a YouTube supporter or a Patreon supporter. And you'll also find links below to our Ko-fi, Bitcoin and swag store. And check us out on Mastodon, because we now have our own Mastodon server. It's awesome. I promise. Scrolling on my right is the list of amazing Charged Up supporters, and shout outs go out to our self-driving tier supporters: Mike Weeder, Patrick Boyarski, Chris Maxwell, Brian Newton, Michael Goad, Bennett Elder, Andrew Martin, Pedro Mura Pinheiro, Brophy Wolf, Chris and Michael Johnson, Tazlet in the Gong, Dan Blair, Peter Dillinger, Gordon C, Stephen O'Donoghue, Carl Hodgson, Anthony Coates, Regine Fellows, Denny Hyde, Chris Centaur and Jim Burness. Finally, out of this world thanks go to our top tier supporters: Andrew Glenn, Anonymous Freak, JP Fagerback, Joe Bresney, John Lyons, Rory Litwin, Kevin Burridge, Dave Kitchen, Laura Reynolds, Marcel Ward, Matthew Drobneck, Paul Conway, Reggie Watts, Will Graylin and Ian. I'll be back soon with more awesome videos, but until then, I hope that you enjoy your pre-holiday week, and as always, keep evolving.